Greetings, my friends. This is Maerlande. It's been a while, and I am working on a new series. I'm going to do some showcases of mods, starting off with mods by friends of mine. So the first few are going to be mods by Sombre. And you can see here, I've loaded up the front page for his Warhammer Dark Elves. So these are mods that Sombre started, many of them, the Warhammer series, many of them back in Dominions 3. I played a number of them back then. I've never played these Dark Elves. Sombre and I did a little bit of a joint review of this together on Twitch, but due to some recording problems, it kind of glitched out, and we're planning to do some more joint work on this. But he did request that I try to sort of play this nation and get a bit of feel for it. So there are some quite funky tweaks or tricks using mod commands to make this a particularly different kind of nation, and most of his nations have things like this. I can't really easily explain it, and I don't have a great comfortable feel, but here's the link to the mod itself. And if you want to see Sombre's other mods, what you can easily do is click on his profile on Dominions mods, and you can see the link for Dominions mod up above. And here's his various mods, and he also has them in a compilation pack. So if we just kind of look at the brief description here, the chill land of Nagaroth lies a realm steeped in malice. It's the home of the Dark Elves. So I'm not going to sit here and just read to you. It's a little bit boring. But if we take a look at some of the key notes, he's got elite infantry and cavalry. He's got slave fodder. This is sort of interesting. And then these lightly armored specialists. The magic is lots of death and astral, good bit of fire, and a dabble of air, water, and blood. So that's very broad. They can blood sacrifice. And this cult of pleasure is funky. I kind of like that he even offers, say, recommended scales. So we can kind of work from there. The other thing Sombre told me is that when you start your first game, some of the unique mechanics are given to you as messages at the turn 1. So we have to have, I'm going to move this out of the way. Whoops, this is not the place to do it. I'm in the wrong screen. So I'm going to move this out of the way. You see I've loaded the mod, and I've got it. Have a quick look here. We'll just confirm that I've got this set up to the 0.51, which is the latest. No other mods active. I don't want to muck with debug mod. I'm literally going to try this just clean. So for fun and games, I'm going to create a world with a blank pretender so that we could see these first few messages and then maybe get a feel for some ideas on just off the top for something to do with a pretender. I want a not too big map. So what have I got here? Maerlande. Silent Seas doesn't have an awful lot of land. So what else have I got that's not a bad size? Streamlands, maybe. Yeah, there's a good old classic map. What are we at there? Let's just take a look again at the size. Streamlands is sitting in, this is an old Almalki map. It's not optimized for Dominions 5. I don't believe it has the winter overlay. And but it'll do for a basic thing. There's not a lot of water, which is not a bad thing. We're looking at 103 provinces, so I'll probably set it up for 6 players. And we'll Dark Elves test 1. Oh, it already exists. Well, that's fine. We need to do Middle Ages, and I will pick Dark Elves down here at the bottom. And we'll do 5 more just random AIs. I don't care what nations they are. This is just to get a feel for it. And of course, we're not even going to do a pretender. So you can see here, lots of fun stuff. Oh, I should pop back. Let's take a little brief look at the lovely preview Sombre has provided. So we drop down here. Here's the preview. So some very nice looking sprites. Sombre's one of the top sprite makers. There's a bunch of others that do it. So you can see he's got the slaves, basic recruits, a number of heroes. I'm not sure what these beasts are, if they're summons, national spells. And the Cult of Pleasure thing is funky. It's definitely a unique kind of thing. So let's move that back out of the way. So for purposes of just sort of this basic look, I'm going to just grab a blank pretender, whatever it pops up. I don't care about that right now. I don't care about his name. We're going to go with standard settings. I'm not going to muck with anything. Let's just start the game. And let's look at these initial messages. Fine-tuning start positions. Oh, it's taking its sweet time. An unexpected event has occurred in Nagaroth. Okay, here we go. So this is Sombre's little crib notes that maybe will help you a bit. So when you conquer a province with a commander and 15 or more troops, and the province population is greater than 2,000, you enslave some of them. So they're sent to one of your forts, you get some resources, gold, population, and slaves. If you have 20 plus troops, there's an event for population if it's greater than 4,000. So, and each size of event can trigger 3 times each turn. So possible of 9. I'm not entirely sure. I think, I did a little bit of testing beforehand. So I think you want to move out in your initial expansion with moderate sized armies rather than little dinky ones. And I guess that kind of encourages maybe expansion with basic inexpensive troops rather than your elite sacreds. But we'll have a look here and see what maybe works. Obviously, if you're 20 plus and the provinces are larger, it gets even better. Now these Corsair Coves, if a Corsair captain is in a Dark Elf coastal province, he might establish a Corsair Cove. So you get some extra gold, but silently, which I assume he means doesn't show up on your income. So that's kind of weird. And it will damage an enemy. So obviously you want some coastal provinces are very useful to you. If you build a fort, looks like it's going to disable or dismantle the Corsair Coves. And if there's a fort neighboring them. Okay. So then also forts can harbor the Cult of Pleasure. High Dominion can reduce the cult. Low Dominion encourages the growth. So that might imply that you want to kind of not get too crazy with Dominion, but there's a fair chunk of random in all of this. So there's the summation. You can take a screenshot of this or whatever you feel like doing. And if we have a look, let's just look at what we start off with the start army. So we get this Bloodshade. So he's a stealthy assassin, a number of secondary benefits, ambidextrous. He's got pretty hefty equipment, just starting equipment, throwing knives with a range of 9, very high attack, significant damage. Starts off with a moderate amount of protection, decent hit points, good stats, superb stats. Look at that precision. Wow. So this guy's pretty valuable, and you probably don't want to muck around with him. Can you realistically do assassination expansion? I don't know if I would, but let's take a look at the starting army. Now our starting commander is pretty generic. He's a taskmaster. He's ambidextrous, but he's got a greatsword, so that's kind of funky. So I mean, there's obviously some thugging potential here, but he's not sacred, unsurroundable. So good leadership. And then what is the starting army? So we start off with these Dread Spears. Elite level stats, moderate protection, good magic resistance, basically a spear. They're size 2, but they're not formation fighters or anything. So more or less a solid, basic, inexpensive infantry. Low hit points, so that's a bit of a trick here. But they hit hard enough, they've got good enough attack, they should do well at expansion. And then behind them, we've got some mildly sort of medium infantry crossbow guys. These repeater crossbows are sort of interesting. Damage is not too wonderful at all, but they shoot every round rather than every second. They are armor piercing like a crossbow. So, you know, basically reasonably solid. If we look at pricing, and we just want to look at sort of where we start with these guys, 15 gold. Now, given their quite high quality stats, that's quite reasonable. Low recruitment points, moderately low resources. If we look at the crossbows, again, in that same price range, a little bit more resources, good precision. So, and the crossbow itself has a precision of 2, 24 shots, so pretty solid. Just reading over quickly, I'm just going to read the descriptive text. They see no dishonor in the use of ranged weapons. They're happy to spill blood. Decades of practice, so they're elite. They're elite troops. Now, of course, we've got a lot of other possible troops, and they get quite a bit more expensive. Now, the spear guys, we've got spear guys, we've got sword guys. The advantage of the sword guys, they're going to chop through armored guys a little bit better, because we're looking at a little more damage. I'm not entirely sure what the heck purchase slaves does. If I remember correctly from the other stuff, you get random slaves from the mix of slaves that are available. If we sort of carry along the troops, we're looking at these corsairs here. So what do you get for 5 more gold? Well, you get 2 attacks, so you get kind of like a Ginsu knife, chop, 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 with quite high damage, and they keep their quite high attack skill. They're again a medium infantry, moderate levels. What's this Sea Dragon cloak? Protection, so it counts as a shield. Interesting. So these are actually shielded double weapon guys. Okay. Now they're pillagers, but that may or may not apply to anything. So that's those corsairs. And then the second corsairs are the repeater crossbows again with a hard-hitting falchion. Moderate protection, low hit points, good stats. Again, they have a cloak. So if you compare those, what we're more or less getting is for 5 more gold, we're getting the fact that these guys can parry with a kind of a shield. That's not a bad deal. Moving a little farther, these shades, okay, stealthy, a number of options for movement, very good patrol. How much? Patrol bonus at 2. So their total patrol state 3.6. Wow. Let's just jump back here to some of the more regular guys. 1.3. So that's quite amazing for patrol. Pricey, but pretty awesome. And next up, same kind of guys. Again, stealthy. The snow move and cold resistant. Okay, how many other these guys have? Okay, so they are distinctly an option if you need to move about in snow. Okay, fun. Now, what do we got here? Harpies. So quite cheap, really low resources, really low recruitment points, not very tough, poor protection, only moderate stats, no precision, but you don't really care. So still, that's quite high patrol strength for the cost. Mountain survival, they're an animal. So you could use these as a backline sniper or just something sort of like using Pangaea's Harpies, mess up formations. Now, what are these executioners? So a Drake. Let's have a look here. Big two-handed weapon, no special benefits. It's iron, so it'll rust out. High protection, especially for a basic unit. Pretty pricey, quite a bit of resources. Excellent attack skill. Okay. So not a bad way to maybe chop up elite troops. A little bit like, except they don't have the armor piercing. And next we've got Witch Elf. Oh, poison blades, magic weapons. These are sacreds. They're berserkers. Death recruitment. Oh, okay. So if we want to play with these, we might want to pick death scales. And then I'm not sure what sort of bless. The protection's quite bad. Their killing power is really high. So this sort of suggests you're going to want to go with a defensive bless possibly, if you want to use them. High gold, low resources. So there's a possibility. It has a sacred. But they're going to be killy. They're going to be quite killy. And strength bless is just going to crank that up. And those are a magic weapon with poison. Well, actually, the weapon itself is not magic. Just the poison's magic. Okay. Tricky. I'm not sure how to use those. And what's this? Sister of Slaughter. So 30 gold. That's pricey. Really high stats. Attack and defense. Double attacks. So what are these barbed whips? Do they have a special ability? Oh, extra damage against shields. And 2 attacks. So that's actually 3 attacks. They're size 2. So that's a total of 9 attacks a square. And they got a little buckler. Double weapons and a buckler. What is this thing? It's okay, pretty generic. And that's basically medium armor. Quite high combat speed. Good morale and magic resistance. But 30 gold. Yeah, those are very specialized units. I agree with them. Oh, bad formation fighter. Ooh, so actually the attack density is significantly less than I thought. -2 formation fighter. Okay, that's a bit of a challenge. What have we got here? Stealthy cavalry. With 2 attacks, so that's less than many. Again, a high-level patroller. But not quite as efficient as some of the other ones. They're stealthy and a pillager. And they have some dark vision, only 25%. All right. Well, I'm not sure what the best way. And then you've got a repeating crossbow version. Now, I'm not a huge fan of horse archers usually because in general you want the most shots per gold. And any kind of mounted archer that drops. Doomfire Warlock. Pricey, lots of recruitment points. But they've got a Banefire shield and a damage reversal. Whoosh. And then Doomfire. So this is a decay weapon. Very little damage, but it's armor piercing. Magic resistance negates. Wow. Funky. Poor protection. High stats. No shield. Wow. I'll let you guys read the descriptive text. Now the Cold One Knights. So these are hard hitting. Wow, 4 attacks. Length 3. But not sacred. Pricey. Very, very pricey. High protection. Size 4. Okay. And then next, Cold One Dreadnoughts. So even beefier. Protection of 21. And a shield. And 4 attacks. Whoosh. And one of them's a magic weapon. Did the previous guys have a magic weapon? No. So for the extra gold of these guys, 20 more gold. Boy, you're not going to have many of them. You're definitely not going to have many of them. And so down at the bottom, there's a note here. If the knight falls, the mount will keep attacking for a time, though after battle they will escape. I don't know if that means that after they die, you're left with one of the kind of dragons, or if they disappear. We might have to test that. And this is not a sacred. So, blessing for sacreds isn't looking stunning. These guys have a defense bonus, a very high damage halberd, good attack skill, drops a little, quite high protection, no shield, formation fighter of 2, boy that's pretty high density, and then bodyguard, and a castle defense bonus. Wow, a lot of selection here, and none of them look like garbage. So maybe now we want to review the basic commanders. So there's these Bloodshades. So this is your national scout. Boy, that's a lot of money for a scout. But it's not a lot of money for that quality of assassin. But scouting may be a bit of a challenge. Just because, I mean, do you really want to spend 4 turns? I don't see anything that these are capital only. And they're only 1 commander point. And we have an even more expensive assassin. Oh, and sacred and a spy. And then how much dark vision? 25 again? No, 50. Holy crap. Magic weapon. It's like a dump truck. A paralyzing wrist blade. Armor negating, magic resistance negates, paralyze damage, anemone paralyze. Gosh golly. Good grief. And then more daggers, and with acid damage on extra effect on damage. That's armor piercing. That is a magic weapon, but you've still got to punch through. Their base damage is 12. Wow. But 140 gold for a sacred but not holy, or not priest. So they can't bless themselves. So the only really useful bless here would be larger. And I don't know if larger makes any sense with this nation. Let's keep working our way along. Corsair captains. Alright. So these guys are recruitment point 1, so commander point only 1. 2 weapons. They've got the shield, that cloak shield. They're inspirational. That's useful. Leadership of 40, but inspirational. They're a taskmaster. Ambi and unsurroundable, and they sail, and they're a tax collector. Okay, so there's definitely a niche, and these are the guys that might establish a Corsair Cove. Well. Next up, so if we want a stealth raid, we've got these stealthy but not sacred Dark Heralds. They could take those stealthy cavalry along. Interesting options. I don't see anything here in the descriptive text that makes any other great suggestions with them so far, but we'll go with that. What do we have here? The Master. Okay, leadership 80. That's the guy we got in the start army. So obviously this is looking like the guy we want to lead slaves with the Taskmaster. And then the Dreadlord. So sort of makes sense that you kind of want to go with his high map move, leading Dread Knights. Again, he's a Taskmaster. That doesn't help with the Dread Knights, but he's pretty crazy tough. So really light gearing might work well. And I think we're on to, no, this is a Beastmaster. Randomly spawns beast based on local province terrain. No command necessary. So this is using the Dom summon command in modding. Multiple Beastmasters will not produce more beasts. So it makes some pretty good sense that you kind of might want to buy one of these in every fort and just leave it there. And then if they're leading beasts, Animal Awe, Beastmaster, and Taskmaster. And a 2 Taskmaster. Useful unit. And I think now we're heading into the Magi. So the Pleasure Cultists are quite inexpensive. Spy and a Seducer with Awe. Now their stats are nothing that sort of pops out. They're Philosopher. So if we go Sloth, Huh. So we get, but they're an inept researcher. Well, those are kind of weird to be fit together. They're a heretic. So we don't really want them sitting around at home. They can head out and spy. They're a blood hunter for reasonable price. You'll get a few with Astro, not very many. So they might be, they're not a great option for your core researchers. So here's another variation of them, or is that the same one? We got two different pleasure cultists. What's the difference here? Am I not seeing it? Oh, this guy increases the chance of a pleasure cult emerging. I think it says the same. So what the heck is the difference between these two guys? I'm not seeing a difference. Am I missing something? We got the same randoms, the same research. Kind of need to... Oh. No, they're both seducers. I'm just not seeing what the difference is. Maybe somebody will spot that, or it'll come up later. Now we're heading into... Death Hag. Okay. Again, another inept researcher. Gosh. Okay, this is going to be a little tricky. So far, I'm not seeing my core researcher. Death recruitment. So these guys are going to get significantly cheaper. I don't know how much. I'm guessing that means 10 gold per death scale. They've got fear. Huh. Gosh, this is a really funky nation. I mean, there's a lot of... Okay, here's our core researcher, I think. The Convent Initiate. The randoms. Excellent randoms. Oh, yeah, you got a good chance of lots of nice... I mean, you've got a moderate chance of getting 2 fire, 2 air, 2 water, but you need to be buying a lot of them. But they are a solid researcher. So that sets you up. Reasonable price for that. Otherwise, you know, Astral Death has a number of options for battle magic. You add in the various options here with the randoms, and something interesting could occur. So that's the Convent Initiate. Now we're getting into the prices. But they're only recruitment point 2. Interesting. And let's see the randoms. Now this is nice. Guaranteed 2s. I like that. And then you've got a chance of an Air 3 and a touch of Astral or a touch of Death. Pretty good chance. So you're probably going to want a lot of those. You're also a fortune teller. Okay. This is a pretty gold intensive nation, I'm thinking. Just off the top. Now, okay, so these are our ultimate magi. They sail very high levels of magic. Let's look at the randoms. Oh boy, that's pretty sweet. So you have a good chance of getting fire 3s and air 3s. This is very interesting. Sailing, very high research, but at 450 gold you want really high research. Really high fortune teller. So there's a lot of justification here for going with death scales, and a pretty solid justification for going for some misfortune with so many options for fortune teller. So that might be the way to approach a pretender design. So it'd be cool if I had, you know, somebody to sort of bounce some ideas off of here. But so what have we come to? We've sort of come to, as far as using sacreds in battle, a bit of the problem here is you're encouraged to use relatively large, cheap armies, and you don't have, except if you've got, once you start getting slaves, but you've got that mechanic that if you send a 15 plus or a 20 plus or an even bigger army, you're going to get slaves showing up. So we sort of want to try that out. Now Sombre did recommend you want order. We should jump back there for just a second. There we go. So let's just take another look at that, at his brief suggestion. Order and cold. Okay. I'm also looking and thinking, well, Misfortune's going to play out nicely. A lot of benefit. What have we got for Sacred Magi? Just these death hags. And they're kind of craptastic as researcher. They're inquisitors, so that's helpful to pump down other people's. They're a blood hunter for a good price, so they're probably going to be hunting. And you're going to need probably these guys if you're going to use sacreds to bless. The fear and the awe work really well together. I don't know if I'd want to thug them. Maybe. They've got some advantage to being thugged, but it's a little on the tricky side. Son of a gun. But as far as, a troop bless, this is the only thing that really works on. So I'm sort of thinking as I'm going, and that does make this a little bit tougher. So let's have a look. I think we've kind of covered the units, and after I publish this, people might have more to comment, so I think we can safely exit this. And let's just see what we can come up with for a pretender. So we want to go to Nagarond. And I don't know what pantheons are available. Oh, we should have probably talked about, so they get some slaves automatically, and they get some death, air, and astral. Well, that's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. So what have we got for options? Well, this is an interesting pantheon. So we could always go with the monster expander, but that seems flawed to me. We could leverage our astral and go with a high astral thing like the Great Sida, but that doesn't help with diversity. The only, a bless here that might be interesting would be, say, Fate Weaving, but Fate Weaving does not improve the survivability of those sacreds. And if we wanted to go with a thugging bless, and there are a lot of possible thugging options, but not too many sacred magi. Or we could just go with a pure scales, heavy on the scales. I don't know. I'm having some tricky decisions on what sort of thing might work well. What's this guy? The Moloch. Oh, okay, that's the Moloch. So fire with blood, that does synergize not too badly. What about in the Titans? The Fomorian God King. Water and death. Water and nature. And then for immobiles, if we wanted to go just straight scales. So here's a possibility for blood magic blesses and some nature bless. I wouldn't pick regeneration on a nation like this. I mean, obviously, resistances would be good, but if we want to keep those sacreds alive, we might need something a little more amazing if we want to do a bless at all. Mother of Monsters. Now that gives us some more critters, which could be useful. Yeah, I definitely need to give some more thought to this. All right, let's move that out of the way. Oh, I apologize for that. Let's go over this one more time. I'm going to have to repeat what I was saying. So we've got a bunch of options here for Titan pretenders. A dormant Titan pretender kind of would be interesting. I definitely wouldn't be choosing an awake expander with this nation. We want to buy a lot of troops, so we want lots of gold. We have a significant reason to go with death scales, but that actually hurts our income a bit. Man, there's a lot of things to think about here. And we could just go with something very, very simple, such as a rainbow. There is some indication we don't really want an awful lot of candles. So, and we could sure use astral gems. We could go with an awake researcher. Do we have the Great Sage? We don't get the Great Sage. Oh, the Vampire Queen. Oh, that doesn't jive too well for me. All right, I'm gonna start with sort of a basic Yeah, let's start with, we don't need magic weapons because we have those magic weapons on the sacreds. So let's start with sort of the bare bones, everything kind of blessed stuff. We kind of want air 4 because that way we can forge an air booster and crank things up. Now we're getting a bit pricey here, so what can we do with scales? Let's say that we go with at least death 1, and let's say we go a couple points of misfortune. Let's get our order up. We've gone cold 1. We could go a little more. I think I'm going to go a little more cold. And we kind of, if we could pull this off, be nice to get. All right, that gives us blood surge, which is solid. Let's see. Some resistances. We could go. I don't think I want to go fire and shock, so I think what I'm going to go is for the potential for magi. I think I'll go a couple, at least one reinvigoration. What's my other one? Option in earth. I'm not going to go with larger. It would be interesting, but well, I suppose I could. But what else have I got in nature? Poison resistance would be very helpful. So let's go. We're just going to go with something quite simple. We don't need low light vision, so we'll go big poison resistance. We can't get another reinvigoration, and I don't really want to buy another. So, but we already have mountain survival. There's not a whole heck of a lot else to spend. Not a whole heck of a lot else to spend, and well, maybe we. How much is it going to cost us to grab that extra? That's an awkward number. So I'm going to have to dump some scales here somewhere. Let's go a little more death, a little more misfortune. Now that does give us a second reinvigoration, and I kind of like that idea. Now, it'd be good to get some resistances. Oh no, we already did that. So let's grab, yeah. Do we need attack skill? We really don't. Do we need wasteland survival? We really don't. So let's get some fire resist. And let's get shock resist. Yeah, definitely. Get some shock resist. And we got one more point. A little precision would be good. Now let's do that. So we're sitting with decent amount of shock resist. So what have we got left? We've got cold resist. We definitely want that. Water walking wouldn't be bad. Now defense skills okay, but I'd rather the resistances. Now winter's gift. They all will discard me. No, we'll go for major cold resistance. And now we don't need, it's quite obvious, we really don't need magic weapons. So I'm going to go with arcane finesse. And I will have an extra point of astral available. Don't really need spirit sight. I saw spirit sight available. I don't want half dead. Yeah, no, I don't think so. You don't really need undead command, so arcane command, maybe. I'm just going to grab minor magic resistance, and then I'm just going to give them some extra hit points. Now we could dump some of these things, but this is a great forging pretender, so I've got a few extra points, so we'll grab some dominion. How much can we, bloody hell. Alright, I'm gonna have to drop a scale. I don't like misfortune much. I'm gonna drop cold. Okay. Okay, let's try that. I could go imprisoned. Maybe I should. You know what? I should, because none of these are incarnate, and the blesses are not that important, and now I can improve the scales significantly. So what are we at here? 169. I would like to get magic scale. I don't mind a little misfortune. I could go 2 misfortune. Maybe I'll drop the cold a little bit. That's still 2 more scales. So do I want magic or production? I'm going to go with magic. Alright. Okay, I think this makes sense to me. Let's try that. Selena. I can't think of a better name. Lucretia. There's something I always have a tendency to go with. Lucretia. Lucretia the spicy. No, the salty. Haha. Sure, why not? Okay, we've made our first pretender god for this. Let's create the game again. Go Streamlabs. So, Dark Elves, Lucretia. Good. Test. Oh. Alright, let's try that. Middle Ages. Pick Nagaron. Grab 5 AIs. We'll start the game. Now, settings. Let's turn on some events. Because this is a test game, I'm going to turn score graphs on. Hall of Fame is fine. Enchantment slots is fine. Normal AI for humans. Standard research. Thrones. Yeah. Let's just set this to conquer all as the victory, because I'm not going to go to the end of the game anyways. I don't need a master. I'm going to allow renaming just in case I need it. And I think that's solid. Here it goes. Alright, so there's that message again. So definitely what I want to try to do is expand. I don't see, do I have any farms here? No, wasteland, plains. There's a farm. Alright, let's go probe the farm. 2 holds and retreat. Let's just see what's in the farm. Do I want to blind expand? This is 20 units. I don't want to blind expand. I will profitize this guy. Let's see what we can buy. So we want to buy a cheap mage, a cheap research mage. So the convent initiate was sort of the bare bones. Let's grab one of those. And then I think I just want to start with a mix of sort of the most robust. Do I want the swords hit a little harder? Same cost. Nope, a little bit less resources. So how many can we get? Plenty. Let's get 5 of those. 2 of those. No, let's go 3 and 3. So we've sort of maxed out. Nope, that's it for now. Do I want sacreds? Well, you know, I should really. These guys are 25. Oh, I got a -4 because of my death scales. Okay, so that saves. So can I buy the max? I can. But do I have it? And that guy's going to be a profit. Okay, and then let's just alternate these guys. And then that is everything we can buy for the first turn. Do I want any of these other cheaper? High B. Oh, I should get the Beastmaster instead as the first one. Yeah, that's a good idea. So I'll just get started on the auto summon. So I get some of those beasts. Oh, when they're... Oh, I see. Yeah, that's right. Those are 2. I don't really want 2 Beastmasters. So then I'll get 1 more Bloodshade. Now I'm a little too many resources. But that's okay. Alright. Anything else for the moment? No, I think we're ready to go. So here's the first battle. And we got 11 knights, a few longbowmen, and some militias. Well, we should realistically be able to take that. Now, how big is that province? 1860. We don't know how big. That's heavy infantries and militias. So if I want to do a circle, I'm going to go down here, start clearing the cap circle. This guy, yeah, he could probe over here. Let's set this to save this on number 2. Well, look at that. I already have some beasts. Geez, that didn't take long. That's a lot of beasts. Son of a gun. Alright, put that guy in here, put that guy there. So we've got a line of basic infantry. So are these undisciplined? They are. Do I want to use them to attack? Not yet. Sea dogs. Wow. So how the heck am I going to get in the water and use these sea dogs? I'm going to have to hope I get. So does she have any... She can blood hunt, but that... No, basically she's just going to sit and wait. So we'll probe this province. Actually, no. We're going to send 2 assassins here and start doing an assassination expansion heading in that direction. So let's just put these guys on just plain retreat. Good, that'll start them off. She's waiting. Okay. Yes, I do want to bring the Sacreds. He can handle 3 squads. So let's... Now, what's the range on these things? Range is 30. Let's go sort of mid-range. Let's go fire closest. Put these guys on hold. Hold and fire closest. And the Sacreds, we'll put them on... How fast are they? They're combat speed 14. These guys are combat speed 12. So we want them back a bit. Probably well back. And then hold attack rear. And we'll see if they can grab a flank. This guy, we want him to put up Divine Blessing. And then have him smite. Word of Power. Yeah, that's solid. So we'll do some Word of Powers. I don't think we need Sermon of Courage. We'll just have him smite away. And slip him just behind the archers so he's close enough to the front. We'll put him in the middle of the archers. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Now I could use... How fast are these guys? 18. I'm tempted to just bring them along for the heck of it. I'm going to leave the Sea Dogs in anticipation of trying to figure out some way to get in the water. I mean, if nothing else, I'll summon a Bane. And we'll start clearing the cap circle. Okay, we've maxed out. I'm happy. Oh, I don't need any more Beastmasters. Should have figured that out. I need a researcher. And then I can afford... I maxed out on my Sacreds. So, do I want infantry or archers? Infantry. And I can grab 1 archer or crossbow. And we're going to start to work towards a 2nd expansion army. But this will get us a kickstart just to get started. So we got events. Having conquered this province, we've taken a large number of slaves. That killed off 740 population, but I had the 25 plus troops. Okay. So, you know, there's a certain justification for death scales here. Now, other events, a large number of slaves. So some of the population moved to my capital, gained random slave troops, I got more income, and I got some gold off the top. Interesting. And what's this? Oh, that was just a random event that sort of sucked. So we're running low on gold. We've started some research. Now, where do we want to start with? With Death and Astral. Well, I'm going to make the assumption. Nah, I think what I want is I want to get to some Banes quite early, so I can make use of those. Yeah, Conjuration 3. Let's start with that, so I have a chance of using those Sea Dogs. Well, look at that. Look at all the slaves I've got. Now, what happened here for losses? So the Crazy Feral Cold ones, I lost 2 of the Witch Elves. I gotta watch this and see why. They're just a little fragile. Okay, we'll take our time here and let this move along fairly slowly. Looks like the volumes are solid. So those guys are... Oh, they're moving ahead faster. Why did they start moving ahead? Have they already gone berserk? Oh, they went berserk right off the bat. Okay, I'm going to have to change my spacing. Based on that, I'm going to have to move the other infantry significantly forward. So I missed on that little tidbit. So there's some smites. So these guys are a little on the fragile side, but they're pretty cheap, so I can live with that. But clearly I need to move these spear guys way, way, way up front. Okay, the crossbows are doing their job. Huh. And those crazy cold ones. Oh, look, they ran past. Yeah, okay, clearly I want to change up the spacing here. Push the spearmen up front so they engage first to reduce the casualties on the witch elves. Because the witch elves are very killy. Where'd the poison come from? Oh, off the witch elves. Right. Interesting. And look at that. Those feral cold ones are there already. Okay, I've seen enough of that. That went fine. So this army can kind of just keep progressing. But as we've sort of determined, we need to sort of push everything up a little farther. Especially these guys right up at the front. And we don't want them on hold. Let's just put them on attack. And these guys, it's not going to do any good if they're on. And I think we just want to be on fire. Fire closest? Yes. So we want to kind of do some trickle damage. So let's put up a little PD. Okay, so we'll have them move on to the next thing in the cap circle. Don't have much gold left over. So we can't buy a whole heck of a lot more troops, so maybe we need to just purchase some slaves. That's what I'm thinking. Now we also need a way to command those slaves. So this guy is a taskmaster, but we need another one. Now over here, okay, I'm going to have these guys assassinate. And I think let's try that for a script. We'll put that on 3. Definitely this is all testing. Let's do an assassination. Now, we got a few animals. Kind of an odd, are these slaves or animals? These are animals. Wonky. So we'll put them with her for the moment. Let's break guys up into their groupings. So we got this kind of slave. Human slaves. They've got a shield, no protection. They've got an axe, they hit hard. Their attack skill's kind of crappy. So effectively they're just chaff. What do we got here? Well, look at those things, orc slaves. They've got recuperation and dark vision. Undisciplined, terrible patrol. Extra hit points. Alright, and we got a good whack of them. Now what about these guys? Kind of a armored version of the same thing. They're also undisciplined. Okay, and what do we got here? Goblin slaves, again undisciplined. I'm just going to split everybody up into their separate groupings for the time being. Those are animals. Maybe we want another Beastmaster for the purposes of leading these animals. I don't want that spider right now. What the heck is this? Good grief. Marauder war slave. Not undisciplined. Chop, chop, chop. Pretty good stats. Okay. These are another kind of goblin. So the goblins are all kind of the same. Slight variation. Oh, these guys just difference is a spear. So what about this guy? This guy's a short sword. Okay, I think we can put all the goblins together. These guys are also undisciplined. They got a choppa. Okay, so orc war slaves, we can put all the orc war slaves together. This is a basic orc slave, also undisciplined. Got 2 of those. I'll put them with those guys. Oh, hang on. Are these guys undisciplined? Yes, they are. Okay. Okay, let them be. Oh, no, that's not where I wanted. I'll put them with that. What the heck is this? A choppa, undisciplined. Okay, we'll put him with that. These marauder slaves are not undisciplined, so we'll put those with that. Group. Chaffee, human slave. You can go with that group. Human war slave. Again, not undisciplined, or is disciplined. Is disciplined. We'll leave the animals for the moment. So we actually need something to move troops around with. We're out of gold. Oh, we got independent scouts. So I think we gotta cancel these guys for a bit and start pumping out indie scouts steadily. And we got foreign recruitment everywhere. Corsairs, lots of options. But I've got a bit of a cash flow problem right at the moment. So I'm just gonna pump out slaves for a bit. But I'm gonna have to cancel. I think I need... Who's my best taskmaster? Those guys. Well, they're better, but they cost far more. So I'm going to need another master. This guy's not a taskmaster. And I am going to want another high beast master. So I got to cancel a couple of slaves here. There we go. And that'll let me lead the animals when they come. Okay. So I'm coming up to the hour mark here. I'll do one more turn, just see what the results are. Research is not going to take off very quickly, but we'll get there eventually. Huh. Alright, let's have a look at the next battle. So how did the assassination go? Very well. They probably had no chance at all. I'm guessing he got shot so quick it wasn't even funny. Let's have a look here. Fire, fire. Why is he not firing? Well, that didn't work. Does this guy have no attack animations? Why do you not throw his throwing knives? There's definitely something wonky here. I'm not seeing it. I'll speed it up a little bit. Oh, there he goes. Chop, chop. That was quick. But why didn't he fire? Strange. Strange. What about the other one? Same thing. Let's see if this guy shot his throwing knives. I'm almost tempted to say this is a little buggy. Yeah, this guy's not shooting. He's trying tangle vines. Why are they not shooting? I must have missed something. Let's have a look here. Range is strength. Oh, out of range. Oh. Range is only 9. Okay. I see. Well, I don't want to hold an attack then. Alright, let's change up. Ooh, that was quite a bit more expensive. Quite a bit more expensive. So he needs to go home and load up with troops. Yeah, very much so. So how did my timings work? Better. Definitely better. But yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna need a little bigger front line. Jeez, those witch elves are really fragile. Well, I won, but only by the skin of my teeth. And so it's looking like, so this was 3,200, but I lost so many troops, it looks like that did not activate the create slaves. Possibly because I lost too many. So maybe it's how many are left after the battle. So how many are left here? Only 10. And I needed 15. Okay. So you definitely want to be dragging along a good whack of the slaves. So this guy needs to head back, put together another army. So we can now bring the animals along with this second one. But I didn't get a bunch more. That's not enough animals to really do much with. Got a bunch more of these orcs, which are undisciplined. So we'll stick them with the other goblins. Got some more of the humans. Wow. All kinds of oddities here. This is strange, strange stuff. Okay, let's put this guy with that bunch. And she just waits, and he just waits for the time being. Oh, I know what we do need to do. I'm going to have her go here, and there's a very good chance that this... I've killed off all the commanders. I usually set to command number 1. So here's my saved orders. Control S for saved orders. Useful thing. So I usually do number 1 is just hold stay behind. I can mix that up. Cool. Now, I need to change these guys around. I don't want fire. I just want fire. Let's just set them on fire. Set them on fire. Ha! Pun intended. Okay. Have these guys do another assassination. The chances of there being more than 4 indie commanders here is very, very slim. This should finish it off. I sent the couple of animals. They should clear up whatever's left. Now, I want to change this up. Get a mage. I think I'm going to stop buying slaves and buy some. I lost more of these guys than anything else, so let's go with that. I don't really have high resource low gold troops. I'd buy them if I did, but my high resource guys are also high gold, so we'll just stick with the basics for the time being. Well, actually those guys, but do I gain anything? Nah, they're pretty much just an option when I have to go. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. Okay, I'm happy. I'm gonna stop here, save the game, and save game and quit. So this is over for today. We've come up to the hour, and I will be doing more of these in the very near future. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'm very happy to be back. A little bit of a tidbit. Please drop by Lucid's channel and see our co-cast for the tournament. I'll put a link. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.